Who are the people of the Most High? Israelites.
All right, hey, Shalom, brothers. Rocket to Yahweh Yahushai, rocket to Yahweh Yahushai, rocket to Yahweh Yahushai, rocket to Yahushai, the water, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Got another lesson here, Elder Tazadakba, Elder Tazion, or should I say, what's the title now, Bishop? Which it don't even matter. Elder Tazadakba, Elder Tazion, brother's going to read for me. And I wanted to deal with a scripture in the New Testament in the book of Acts, one scripture that we use very frequently, and I wanted to go into it because I found some information on the Josephus that sheds light on what the scripture is talking about. Call it?
Acts 21 and 38.
Right, this is Acts 21 and 38. And
I'll go up first.
Yeah, you want to go up first?
All right. Acts 21, 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek?
Right, Paul was being led into the castle. He asked the chief captain, Can I speak unto thee? That said to, Canst thou speak Greek? Because the Jews basically wanted to kill Paul. Because Paul basically brought the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners, basically into the temple. And they went apeshit. The Jews went apeshit. Now the Gentiles that were brought into the temple were Israelites that were living scattered abroad in these different nations that adopted the customs of those nations. Thus they became Gentiles through worshiping the gods of the other nations. It tells you that in what is that? Is that Corinthians the 12th chapter? Where you were carried away of these dumb idols as ye were led. Remember in times past that ye were Gentiles carried away to these dumb idols as ye were led. So these were Israelites who they were being brought back to the fold. But the Jews in Jerusalem looked at them as like, no, those are heathen, man. Those are foreigners. Those ain't Israelites. Those are heathens. Those are foreigners. And if you look at it to this day, our people do that to each other. If you're a West Indian, you're from Jamaica, and you come here to America, or you go to England, then you go back to Jamaica to go visit, what they call you, foreign. Oh, you one of them boy who go foreign. Now you come back with a foreign style.
No, they call you a foreigner.
Well, they call you a foreigner. Like they'll call you a foreigner. Now you're from Jamaica, but you moved to Britain, or you moved to the United States.
Not even. If those people that left have kids,
right,
and the kids were born in those other countries,
right,
when the kids come to visit, they call them foreigners.
Right, they call them foreigners.
The ones that were born there, they don't do that. They do it mostly to the kids that they have abroad.
Foreigners. So these Israelites that were born abroad, to the Jews in Jerusalem, no, man, those are foreigners, man. Them ain't Israelites. Puerto Ricans do it to each other too. Colombians do it to each other too. Mexicans do it to each other too. So that's what was going on back there.
Shows you what? That they're the Israelites.
There you go.
That shows everything is spiritual, man. Everything is spiritual. Things don't happen by chance. All right? And that's what you people are going to come to find out. You know?
Go ahead. Keep reading.
In verse 39, it says, But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus.
Right. Paul told him, look, I'm a man which am a Jew of Tarsus. Go ahead.
A city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city. And I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
Okay.
All right.
Read on.
It says, And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying, Slacky, goes into the next chapter.
No, Salakia, that was the verse I wanted was it was 20
Acts 21 and 38. Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days madeth an uproar and leddeth out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers?
Right. So that scripture, art thou that Egyptian which before these days made an uproar and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers. So the centurion or whatever said to him, wait a minute, aren't you that Egyptian that had led that revolt? Now we always use that scripture as a color scripture, which there's nothing wrong with that, because the original Egyptians were dark. So when Moses had passed for Pharaoh's grandson, the Egyptians were dark, so Moses had to be a dark-skinned man. That is true. But what this is talking about, there was an incident. It says, art thou that Egyptian? There was an Egyptian that led a revolt, that led a revolt and an uproar and led many people into the wilderness. That's what he was asking Paul. Aren't you that guy? So now where the history of that is at is in the Josephus. And it's in the book War of the Jews, book 2, chapter 13. And I'm going to start at section 4 down to section 5. The points is section 5. But I'm going to read 4 to read down into it. It says, there was also another body of wicked men gotten together, not so impure in their actions, but more wicked in their intentions, which laid waste the happy state of the city. No less than did these murderers. These were such men as deceived and deluded the people under pretense of divine inspiration. Because they said, basically, I'm the Messiah, follow me. That was going on back there. There were so many uproars and revolutions going on back there. Men were basically taking the scripture in Deuteronomy 18 and 15, which was talking about a prophet coming in the like manner of Moses, which that was talking about Yahushua. That was a future prophecy of Yahushua. So they would read that and say, see, this scripture's talking about me, follow me, and lead a revolt. And then whoever was the military governor of Judea at that time would send the horsemen and military men down there and take that thing down. And that was happening all the time. Now this instance that we read about in Acts 21:38, that's actually what happened there. But the history of that is right here in the Josephus. Brother got something to say? The history of that is here in the Josephus. It says, these were such men as deceived and deluded the people under the pretense of divine inspiration, but were for procuring innovations and changes of the government. And these prevailed with the multitude to act like madmen, and went before them into the wilderness, as pretending that the Most High would there show them the signals of liberty. But Felix thought this procedure was to be the beginning of a revolt, so he sent some horsemen and footmen, both armed, who destroyed a great number of them. Verse 5. But there was an Egyptian false prophet that did the Jews more mischief than the former. For he was a cheat and a pretended to be a prophet also, and got together 30,000 men that were deluded by him. These he led round about from the wilderness to the mount which was called the Mount of Olives, and was ready to break into Jerusalem by force from that palace. And if he could but once conquer the Roman garrison and the people, he intended to domineer over them by the assistance of those guards of his that were to break into the city with him. But Felix prevented his attempt and met him with his Roman soldiers, while all the people assisted him in his attack upon them, insomuch that when he came to a battle, the Egyptian ran away with a few others, while the greatest part of those that were with him were either destroyed or taken alive. But the rest of the multitude were dispersed, everyone to their own homes, and there concealed themselves. So that's why I read that right there again, Acts 21 and 38.
Art not thou that Egyptian?
That's why the centurion asked Paul, are not thou that Egyptian? Because it was talking about this guy right here, who pretended to be a prophet, and he got the people he swayed the people. Why? Because he used the scriptures. Because remember, Revelation, the 12th chapter, tells you about there was a woman travailing with child, pain to be delivered. That child was talking about symbolically the nation of Israel, but Yahushua was being born to be what? The deliverer to the Israelites. And Israel was in pain to be delivered. Why? Because the Romans was putting hell on us. So you had all these uproars happening because Israel was tired of the Roman taxation. Israel was tired of being under the Roman thumb. So you had countless guys that were rising up saying, look, hey, that scripture, could you get Deuteronomy 18 and 15 for me? We're just going to touch on that. And then we're going to hit the one in Matthew 24 where Yahushua talked about there's going to be arise false Christ, false anointeds, follow them not. Because that was going on before the birth of Yahushua, during Yahushua, and after Yahushua. This incident right here happened after Yahushua. And that's why the centurion in Acts 21 asked Paul, art not thou that Egyptian? That's what he was talking about. This guy that I'm reading about in the Josephus right here. And this was under the time of Felix, because when you read on in Acts You go to Acts 22, 23, 24. Paul was taken. He was taken by the centurions, and they brought him before who? Felix. Felix was the procreator of Judea, or another, let me give it another name, governor of Judea at that time. So this was during Felix's reign. So this is the same exact story that is talking about in Acts 21 and 38. Go ahead, brother. You're just going to touch on that scripture.
Deuteronomy 18 and 15. The Lord thy power will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee.
Right. The Lord thy power will raise up a prophet from the midst of thee. Like who? Like unto Moses. Go ahead.
Of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him, and the me is talking about who? Moses.
That's talking about Moses, yep.
Unto him ye shall hearken, or listen to, or
right.
hear.
Unto him ye shall hearken or listen. Now that's talking about a future prophecy about Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
But what was happening, you had guys that were raising up saying, hey, that scripture in Deuteronomy 8, that's me. Follow me. Israel was in pain to be delivered from the hand of the Romans, so they would follow him. And then the military governor of Judea, whenever that uprising sprung up, no matter who it was, would send the military force down there and quell it. Smite the shepherd and scatter the sheep. That's what was happening. Give me Matthew 24 and 26. I think it starts in 26. Where Yahweh Shai is saying, beware, that there's going to be false anointed. So that story in Acts the 21st chapter, that was during Felix's reign.
24. I'll start at 23. Matthew 24, 23.
Okay.
That if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is the anointed, or there, believe it not. For there shall be false anointed. The word that got written here is Christ.
Right.
But the word is anointed.
Right. False anointed. There shall be false anointed. Go ahead.
And false prophets.
Which the Yahweh Shai warned us about that. But that's what was going on in Judea at the time. There was all kind of turmoil that was going on at the time. The Zealots was wreaking hell all throughout Judea. Then the Sicarii were born out of the Zealots. And then they started wreaking havoc throughout Judea. And that's a whole nother story within itself about the Zealots and the Sicarii. That was going on at that time too. Go ahead.
And shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
If it were possible at all, they would what? They would deceive the very elect.
Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth.
Right. If they shall say to you, he is in the desert, go not forth. Don't follow him. Don't listen to him. Go ahead.
Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not.
He's in the secret chamber, believe it not. Go ahead.
For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Because Yahweh Shai was saying, when I come back, it's going to be in the chariots.
And you're
going to see it. Like you see the lightning coming out, that's how you're going to see me coming.
Yeah, because lightning from the east
right.
shines to the west. Meaning
right.
It's going to be so fast in the air.
Right.
You can't but know that is him.
I shall not meet thee as a man.
Right.
The Lord said he shall not meet thee as a man. You'll come back as a supreme power with those chariots.
That's
and
right.
That's why, footnote, that's why there's so many chariot sightings in these days, because
right, in this days and times.
We're very close to that time.
So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in a nutshell. So Acts 21 and 38, that's what it's dealing with. It's in the Josephus, War of the Jews, book 2, chapter 13, sections 4 and 5 is where you can read that at, and you can go look it up for yourself. So with that, I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash, and say shalom, and I hope you brothers learned something from this little quick hit.